Good morning. Can you tell me your name?
Hi, I'm Jodie Forbes.
And how old are you, Jodie?
I'm 52.
And what have you been diagnosed with?
So about 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
How did you feel when you were diagnosed?
So initially, I think it was feelings of confusion, shock, anxiety, but I think that settles down over time.
Where are you based?
I live in South East London.
And what treatment are you currently on?
So I take a couple of drugs. I take a drug called pramipexole, which is a dopamine agonist, and I take something called Madapar, which is levodopa treatment. And both of those treatments compensate for the lack of dopamine in my brain.
What is your best source of support at the moment?
I have a local support group in South East London, and we meet up for lunch and stuff like that regularly, and I found that's really useful to compare notes with other people.
What are your main symptoms that you have with your Parkinson's?
So the main things that affect me is fatigue. I get really tired, and that affects a lot of things in daily life. I have to have afternoon naps sometimes and things like that. And I think the other thing is fine motor control, so things like handwriting, typing, doing up shoelaces, doing things around the kitchen, eating food even. Anything requiring use of the hands in a detailed way is difficult.
What has been the biggest non-medicinal change that you've experienced since diagnosis?
So I think the biggest change I've made for myself is to try and exercise more, because exercise is the one thing that's proven to slow the progression of the disease. I think the other thing that's made it challenging for me is sleep. I think I've had a lot of sleep disruption in the early days, but thankfully that's settling down now.
If someone was newly diagnosed today, what advice would you give them?
I'd say don't panic. I think when you're first diagnosed, you have this kind of shock, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But actually it's a very slowly progressing condition, and there's lots of things you can do about it. So there's no need to change your lifestyle immediately. You can take time to make decisions.
That's really good advice, and thank you for answering my questions today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jodie.
If you're interested in finding out more about Parkinson's, subscribe for a new video every Thursday.